Hey guys, welcome back to the Stonerd Podcast. We are still the Stonerd Podcast. More on that later. But yeah, let's jump into the episode breakdown. For today, I will talk to you guys about the future of the podcast and what's going on behind the scenes. Then I'll tell you a little bit about my day. Let's get it. Well, guys, I don't even know how to bring this up. But I guess the only way to bring it up is to just come out and say it. A company is sharing the same name that my podcast has. And I obviously haven't discussed this here before, but it's something that irritates me a lot. I don't like to think about all this stuff. I just want to be creative and put out the best podcast I can do, but it's very problematic for the simple reason that it could come down to legal action. Who has the right to use that name? Who can do business under that name? Is there a copyright? There's a lot of this stuff that becomes too much. And honestly, I don't know what I should do. Should I keep using this name? Should I abandon the name and get a new name? I don't know. I even forgot what they do, but it is a website where they sell things, and the name of the website is Stonerd.com or something. At least it's not podcast. I don't know of another podcast that is called Stonerd Podcast, but there is a website that has that name. So if I were to continue with this podcast and make it so that one day I can use this as my full-time job or make it into something bigger, I won't be able to buy that domain, that website name, because somebody else already has it. And obviously as you grow, it becomes more difficult for you to do business if you don't have or don't own the name that your podcast has. I don't know if you guys know what I'm trying to say. Definitely if you try to do any sort of like content creation, you know what I'm talking about, but this is mainly for the people that don't know about this stuff. There's always some sort of like legal hurdle if you use stuff from other people, if you have something that somebody else has, and then it so happens that it's a coincidence, but it doesn't matter that it is a coincidence because all it matters is who has the right to use it. I'm still a novice at this thing, and so I'm constantly learning. So I don't know, since they are a separate thing and I'm a podcast, I don't know if that comes into conflict. But again, like I said, if somebody search for Stoner and then that store or that website pops out, then people might go there thinking it's part of the podcast and vice versa. So I'm in a tough situation. So I might end up changing it. I don't know. I'm still debating on it. For now, as of this podcast and for the near future, I guess I'm gonna still call it the Stonerd Podcast. I don't know. I can also give this podcast the name of my YouTube channel, which is Nerdy Fusion. What do you guys think? Does Nerdy Fusion Podcast has the same tone? Has the same ring to it? I don't know. It doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely as Stonerd Podcast, and it's driving me crazy. But the good news is that nobody seems to have Nerdy Fusion taken as a website or domain, and probably me saying this now, somebody will buy it. If you heard me say that name, don't take that name. But yeah, it's killing me. I don't know what to do, because I've been saying that name for so long. I have become used to it. It's something that I do every time I come in here. I tell you guys, this is the Stonerd Podcast. And I feel like I won't be saying that anymore. But I don't know. It could also be a good thing. Like, this could be one of those hidden information things that only super fans that started from the beginning know about. You know what I'm saying? Imagine I become big, and I probably won't, but just indulge me for a little bit, alright? Imagine I become big, and then most people will think that the name that I have was the name that I always had, but it isn't. there was actually another name, and only people who was there from the beginning know about that information. There is a name for that. I want to say Easter egg. That could be an Easter egg in the future. Is that the word that I'm looking for? An homage? I don't know. What's the word that I'm trying to look for here? Whatever the case is, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, the people who were there from the very beginning will know, but the people in the future won't. So I think that's a cool thing to think about. But at the same time, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to deal with it. I already have a logo made. I already have like a whole bunch of other things with that name. And so it's just really annoying. And I wish this other company didn't have that name. And I don't even know if they have that name copyrighted. Like if they have a claim on it. I don't know. It's a whole big thing. I'm letting you guys know what's happening so that it doesn't take you by surprise if one day you come into the podcast and you find out that it has a new name. Can you imagine? I think I better do it sooner rather than later because I honestly don't know what's going to happen. And obviously the fewer the amount of people who know about it, the easier the transition will be. Because imagine if I was, I don't know, Joe Rogan and I wanted to change the name of his podcast. Can you imagine just letting all those people know, hey, listen, I'm going to have to change this. I'm going to have to change that. The whole name is going to be different. I'm going to restructure the company. Like, that could be a lot. Because obviously he has merch. He has a logo that people recognize. It's obviously more complicated. But obviously I'm a small guy. There's like 6 people listening to me right now. So it's not like it's going to be a life-changing experience. But at the same time, it is something that I really don't want to deal with right now. But there's nothing I can do. I just got to deal with it. Moving on from that, on my way to work, one of those trucks in the back is said oversized load, which is usually funny when I read it because it's a load. Guys will understand. Anyway, I saw the sign in the rear portion of the truck and it reminded me that people need to make accommodations for oversized loads. And the reason I thought about it is because on the way here it was raining. And so I was thinking to myself, man, moving this oversized load under the rain in the dark, because it was really early. It was like 5 a.m. or so. Gotta be so dangerous and annoying. But yeah, if you guys don't know, those people usually have to make accommodations with the transportation authorities so that they can pick a day and a time of the day that is not as crowded on the streets. Like, I put myself in their position and thought about how annoying this is. And they couldn't say no because, like I said, they made accommodations to move that small house that day and they have to use it. Otherwise, they have to apply for another permit and wait for another day, which I guess they didn't want to do. They were probably running on a tight schedule. So that's how my day started. I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about that. You know, just to kill time, honestly. You guys probably didn't need to hear that. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.